I'm back. This feels so strange. Hi guys! So today's video is basically an introduction to my whole trip to Southeast Asia. In case you haven't heard, I've basically been banging on about it on my TikTok for ever since I started planning it. So let's get going. I've written a list of what I want to speak about. It's exciting. Right, let's just get started before I start rambling. So if some of you know, I quit my job in March 2022 because they were kind of not that great, and also at the time I was volunteering in Nepal and I wanted to extend my trip. So I was like, you know what, see you later, I'm staying. And then that kind of like spiraled into me spending as much time as I could traveling. I ended up going to Poland, Morocco, Kenya, Spain, and then Canada. And I really didn't want it to stop there. So I was trying to think of what I could do in the new year to carry on traveling. I've always loved like Southeast Asian culture. I visited Sri Lanka when I was younger with my family. I've been to Nepal and I wanted to go back so badly. So how did this trip come about? Well, basically I have a childhood best friend called Tatiana. Met her when I was very little in Spain, and we've been friends ever since, and we've always wanted to do something like this together. I saw her for 2 hours on the beach in Spain last summer after not seeing her for 3 years prior to that, and I was just talking about my year of traveling and how I was wanting to carry on into 2023. And then she said, oh, I don't think I'm doing anything next year. And then I was like, stop, we're going to Southeast Asia. No ifs, no buts, we're doing it. And we called literally every week. We made a plan in spreadsheets, and now we're going. We are getting there on the 17th of January. We're both flying into Bangkok, and then we're spending a bit of time together, and then she goes back home and then I'm staying a bit longer. So I just want to talk about that route that we figured out. Originally, we were going to go to India to start with and do a month there, but the whole visa process as a UK citizen was just, it hurt my brain. I had to go to an embassy in the UK and like do this thing, get my fingerprints taken. But at the time I was in Canada, so it just wasn't really a possibility. We're also gonna go to Cambodia and I wanna say the Philippines. It was so long ago that we did this original route that I've forgotten half of it. So we had to reconfigure our route to fit both of our needs. It was very difficult, but we got there eventually. I'll put a little map of where we're going, a little itinerary. We finally got the route that we wanted, and it gives us enough time in each place to really explore the area, and we're so excited. But yeah, I'll just give a quick run through of exactly where we're going and for how long. So we're doing Thailand for 2 weeks, and then Tatiana's flying to Japan, and I'm doing 2 weeks in Laos, and then we're meeting back up in Vietnam, doing around 2 weeks there, and then we're flying from Vietnam to Bali, and we're doing around 2 weeks there as well. We're also heading to East Java. And then Tatiana flies home back to the States, and I'm gonna spend a little bit more time in the Gili Islands. Then I'm gonna fly to Malaysia. I'm 2 weeks there. Then I fly to Nepal, and I'm there for about 4 or 5 weeks. So it's a long time. I fly back into the UK on the 30th of April. So I land in England 1st of May. So I think it's like 104 days or something stupid like that. It's wild, but I'm so excited. As for the budget for the trip, I was originally allowing myself $7,000 for almost 4 months, which seems like a lot, but we are flying a lot of places, and I wanted to do some like really great memorable activities. Now that I've worked it all out, I could probably do it about 6,000 or 5,000 if I'm really on budget. The biggest amount out of the budget is obviously the flights, because I'm basically flying from each country. The only place I'm not flying is from Thailand to Laos, but altogether my flights are $1,675. And it pains me to say that, but it's so much more convenient, so much quicker, and we just thought it'd be a lot less hassle for us. Like, we just don't want to think about how to get a bus or a car or anything like that. So we've opted for flights. That's from London to Bangkok, Bangkok to Krabi, Krabi back to Bangkok, Laos to Vietnam, Vietnam to Bali, Bali to Kuala Lumpur to Kathmandu, and then Kathmandu back home. Given how many flights I'm going on, it's not too bad, but it's definitely a lot. Next up, we've got visas. So as a UK citizen, you don't have to get a visa in some countries, like you don't have to pay for it. if it's under 30 days. So Thailand, for example, and Malaysia, I won't have to buy a visa, but then the rest of the countries I will. So the total for visas is around 160 US dollars. Now for accommodation, we booked a lot of it through booking.com, mainly because I have a genius level account, which means I can get discounts on hostels that are usually a little bit more. And also a lot of them offer free cancellation. So if our plans change, we can just like get rid. For example, we were originally going to stay in like a more eastern part of Krabi, and then a friend recommended Onang, I think that's how you say it, which is more western. It's a lot prettier, so we've changed our accommodation. Booking.com is just fantastic. It's a lot more reliable, I would say, and you can check out reviews and make sure that it's like a legit place to stay. But for every single country that I'm staying in, I think there's 6 countries. 6, yeah. So for oh my god. So for the 6 countries that I'm staying in, I will be spending around 427 US dollars, which is not that bad. It's about $4 a night, which is pretty, I'm pleased with that. Like, we've not picked the lowest price ones because they looked a bit like grubby. We've still tried to find places that, you know, have some sort of standards, still look nice to stay in, but are still within our budget. So yeah, that was really good when I figured that out, that it wasn't going to be that much. Also, a quick side note, for Malaysia, I'm actually going to do a work exchange and working in a guest house. So my time spent there, I'm not going to have to pay for the accommodation, which is fantastic. Next up, we got transport excluding flights. So this is things like buses, taxis, scooters, anything like that. Sort of estimate how much a taxi might cost from one place to another. Longer journeys, we've done like a sleeper train from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. So bits like that, we've tried to kind of guesstimate how much we might spend. And that's looking to be $261, which is fine. Like, it's not amazing, but it's not bad either. And then the big cost, and I've actually had to make a tweak to this, which is quite disappointing, is like excursions. So we're not really classing like temple fees or activities that we'll pay for once we get there. For example, you can do river tubing in Vang Vieng in Laos, and I think that's around $5. So I've not included that because I'll just pay for that on the day and it's not really that expensive. When I'm on about excursions, I mean like big things. So some of the things that we're doing are staying in a raft house in the Khao Sok National Park, and that's quite a bit of money. We're also doing an elephant sanctuary, and then in Nepal I'm going to be doing a trek up Mardi Himal with my mum, so that's quite expensive. That's $500. So yeah, these are all over like the $100 mark, which is quite a lot. And I was gonna do the gibbon experience in Laos, which is where you stay in tree houses, you like zip line, you see gibbons, and that was so cool, but it was $215 for one night. As awesome as it sounded, I just couldn't justify spending that. I've had to cut that out of the list, unfortunately. All in all, for all those excursions, it's about $750, which isn't bad. Again, it could be worse, it could be better, but if I'm gonna be out there, I wanna do it and I wanna experience like the cool shit, you know? So I'm looking forward to it. So if I gave myself a budget of 6,000 US dollars after flights, after visas, accommodation, transport, and excursions, I would have $2,500 left, which means over 104 days, I get around $23 a day to spend on things like food. And that's it, because we've already like figured out how much everything else is. So I'll end up having $23 just for food, and maybe like a few temple entrance fees or like last minute activities. So I think I'll be good with that. I could definitely be a little bit tighter if I needed to be, but again, got a little bit of wiggle room because I've got some savings. Now in terms of what I'm taking on this backpacking trip, I have made a massive list. I'll just insert a quick screenshot here. I am only taking a camera bag, and I want to say it's like a 40-litre bag that my dad had, and my brother took it to Central America, and I'm going to be using that for this trip. It's tiny. I can barely fit anything in it, but I've managed to do it. I've created this packing list, but I'm going to go over all of this in a separate video, show you exactly what I'm taking, why I'm taking it, and how I'm packing, so you can see how it's possible to do 4 months backpacking with very little. If you want to check that video out, I'll be posting it next week with everything you might need for a backpacking trip in Southeast Asia. That's pretty much the video and everything I wanted to talk about in this planning my trip to Southeast Asia video. I'm hoping that I can update my TikTok daily with things like vlogs, what I eat, tips, tricks, and I'll also be posting on my Instagram pretty much every other day, and then also on this channel I will be also posting the vlogs and things like that. I will be taking a proper camera and a drone with me, so I'm hoping to get some really cool footage which I can edit once I'm home. So those videos aren't going to be out until like May, June time. That's what you can expect from this channel, and I'm really looking forward to this trip, and I hope you guys can come along with me and experience the amazingness that is backpacking on a budget, because it's stressful. And yeah, that's it. I'll speak to you next time. Bye. Asham.